welcome back to Dark Points, everybody. This is Ron, and tonight we are talking about all the games that are leaving PS Extra in December, starting with a bunch of games that I've already shown you in other videos, so I don't think I need to mention them, but I'll mention them. Evil Genius 2, Dead Island Definitive Edition, all great. Gigabash, great game. You know, the one big downer with this one is the PS Extra version has none of the DLC, so you just plays random monsters. Vampire the Masquerade Coteries of New York. I've talked about this a bit. I do like this game, and I recommend you play it before it leaves. It's just a choose-your-own-adventure kind of reader. Now, the thing I won't play, and I have no interest in, ever since I've been a kid, I've had no interest in playing these games. Yes, I've played them, but yeah, the huge Mega Man collection, like all the Mega Man games, Legacy collection, all the way up to Mega Man 11, they're all leaving. If you like that stuff, check it out. Okay, now the games I am going to show you. Let's start with Stranger of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origin. I was always a little hesitant to look at this, and to be honest, I don't even think it's been on Extra for a year, has it? It's another one that feels like it's leaving early. It feels like it's only been on there for 6 months at most, but you know, it's a Final Fantasy game. It's well made, it's fun to play, the fighting is fun, but this is a prequel to Final Fantasy 1. So kind of like that feeling of like, you know, where the story ends up is kind of looming over the whole thing. But, you know, having just played Crisis Core, I was really excited to actually just get into this and play it. Of course, like all Final Fantasies, you know, it is well made and looks great, but it's also crazy and doesn't quite make sense. I don't know. Alright, moving on to Judgment. This is a Yakuza game, or in the same world as the Yakuza games, and I love them, but, you know, I spent a couple hours on this, but as much as I love these games, this isn't something I want a timer on, if I'm honest. I don't want just a month to play them. Like Yakuza 0, God, I played the hell out of that game. I just took my time with it, and that's why I really enjoyed it. So we'll see if I play this. It is really well made, but a lot of these games, these Yakuza games, are pretty huge, and they take a lot of time, so I don't know if I want to have a timer counting down the next 30 days while I try to rush to finish this. I'd rather enjoy it. But so far, it seems like a pretty good game. The only thing I don't dig is the stealthing, and that is a major part of the game. You have to follow people and investigate, so... Alright, moving on to Solstice. I had no idea what this was. It kind of looks and feels like a Devil May Cry game, but so far a little less complicated. I only played maybe 45 minutes of this game, to be honest, but I saw what it was, and as fun as it was to hack and slash and stuff like that, as enjoyable as it was, you know, I've played this game before. You know, well made, looks good, but yeah, I've played this game before. Yeah, I don't know why. It just didn't interest me. And speaking of that, you're going to hear that a lot in the next few games. Grime! Definitive Edition. So it's a Metroidvania kind of thing. You kill people with your black hole head, which is really cool. I do like that little effect, or whatever you call it, little skill you have. But, you know, it's just a different interpretation of Hollow Knight. Really, all these games, to me, I'm not judging them as good or bad. They are just simply not my style of games. But all of these games I'm going to talk about on this list, they are all well made and made with love and care, but just not my thing. And speaking of that, Moonscars, which is very similar. And speaking of Metroidvania, more just Castlevania, this game doesn't feel as mazy. It does open up a little later on, but you know, Castlevania had those mazy. I mean, that's why the term exists. But yeah, it's more just a Castlevania love letter, really, than anything else. And so In that way, I do like it a little more than the last two I mentioned, but at the same time, am I going to keep playing this? I don't think so, because I know me. Anyway, moving on to Tinykin. Tinykin. I always saw this in the extras games, and I just looked at it and I was like, oh, this looks like something my daughter would like. But, if you don't know what the game's like, sometimes you just don't bother. And it's a Lemmings game. You control these things called Tinykin, and they move objects for you and solve puzzles. World puzzles, move objects and stuff like that. Obviously, you're seeing it. But the animation style here is really cool. I don't know if anybody remembers The Adventures of Gumball. It was on around the same time as, oh god, what is that one? Adventure Time. Speaking of adventures, but it has that animation style, and I really dig it, but again, not necessarily my style of game. Okay, and now, Metal Hellslinger, last two games of the night, and these are my big recommendations. Yes, I have mentioned these in other videos, just like the first few games I skipped over, but these are games you should play if you have not played them yet. And they are both fairly new to Extra. I wouldn't think either of them have been out for more than a year. But yeah, Metal Hellslinger for sure hasn't been out for more than, I don't know, 6 months on Extra. But play it. It's great. It's super hard. But for anybody who likes Doom, I think you're going to dig it. It's really hard to get into. My problem is I hate beat matching games. And now, this is different than like Dance Dance games where you like have to, press the square and the triangle. It's just you have to match the beat perfectly. And for a person like me, I can't do it. So I had to set it to easy by a certain level, and then once I got to like the third or fourth boss, every boss I had to put like the beat matching on and basically cheat the game. But I did enjoy my time with it, if I'm honest. Alright, and the final game of the night, Protus. Just play it. It's an old school, not old school, it's a love letter to old school games. It's a boomer shooter. Huge. We're talking like 30 levels. If you love Doom and you never want it to end, this is what you get. Very minimal plot and story. Definitely no cutscenes that I can think of. All the plot and the story and the world is told through little like books you pick up or pads that you pick up and read. It's just, look at it. Just look at it. Watch this guy splatter. Sploosh. Splatter. Sploosh. Yes, the game is wet. But yeah, for anybody who even mildly likes shooters, this one is up there with, I would say, some of the best FPSs of all time. Again, a few minuses for lack of plot, but there is some world building here, and it is hard, but I love it. Play it if you're interested. Alright, there you go. That's all the games that are leaving PS Extra sometime in December, usually the second to last Tuesday of the month. So there you go. Thank you for watching Dork Points. Goodbye!